Hey, what's up, y'all? What's poppin'? It's your boy, the Petty Poet, aka CC or aka Chris, or whatever it is I'm known by to you. And we're back with the wrap up for Charm Season 3. Charm Season 3. A saying Charm Season 3. Bitch, Charm Season 3. Ooh, oh, Season 3. So what's up, y'all? Here we go, back with the wrap up. So I just concluded season 3 of Charm, and upon completion, it what I don't want to say was a struggle to get through. Definitely better than season 1, but not better than season 2, in my opinion. So we're gonna jump straight into it. So the season starts up with Prue and Phoebe demon hunting. Luckily, they haven't needed a power of 3 demon because Piper been goes. In the last episode of season 2, we saw Piper and Leo go up to the elders, just so she could meet them and look around and stuff like that. And they left, and that was like 3 months ago. So we dive straight into season 3. Phoebe is blonde, Prue doing her photography, and Piper up in the clouds, child. So we gonna get into it. We gonna break it down. So Prue, played by Shannon Doherty. So this season for Prue, so she maintained her photography business. She actually built a career on it. She started getting more work frequently and more frequently, and that worked out good for her. Unfortunately, it left a damper on the love life because she really balanced career and her witch duties. Because in this season, we're more so introduced, I guess, to the source more so heavily. We know that the source wants them dead, but now it's kind of bringing it a little more intensified. The source really want them dead. So Prue jumps into demon fighting mode, and so she really focuses on vanquishing the source, being ready, for the triad and all of that stuff. So unfortunately, it doesn't leave a lot of room for a love life, even though she tries to date various times throughout the season, but it goes nowhere. But one relationship that does strengthen is the relationship between her and Victor, which is the girl's father. And they actually rebuild their relationship and their bond throughout season 3. So I really do like that. Jumping into Miss Piper. So Piper, which y'all know is the middle sister. Also, one. Let me go back to Prue real quick. My bad. We gon' rewind that back. So Prue also gets, even though she was, well, I guess it's not a new power. She had the power of the astral projection. She had that in the last season, so nothing new with her. We done with her. Bye, girl. So Piper, Leo proposes to her, because when they do come back from the elders after 3 months, um, they say that Piper and Leo have to break up because relationships between white lighters and witches are strictly forbidden. So that's how Piper season goes throughout the season. It's their struggle of being able to get married. Then they go into trying to get married on the low, but they get founded out. Um, then they get on a probationary period, to look and see if it could work and not affect their charm duties. And then they're officially engaged. They actually get married, and that's how the season goes for Piper. So, but she also gets a new power. So her freezing power remains, and now she has the ability to speed up molecules, meaning she can blow shit up. So, it comes more towards the end of season 3, and she really struggles with it, but eventually it becomes a very handy and cool power. So And then P3 is booming. Like her club is like it's the shit. It's San Francisco's newest hotspot. So kudos to Piper. And last but not least, my fave, Miss Phoebe Hollowell. So Phoebe, we finally get a love interest for Phoebe, a solid love interest, Cole. Because we really hadn't had one since I'm not gonna count the little movie dude and Clay, but Clay only came for an episode. So Cole is introduced in season 3. He's the new district attorney, and he happens to kind of show up in crime scenes and shit. Well, he gets really close to Phoebe, and turns out there's a little bit more to Cole than meets the eye. Um, but she finally finishes school and she gets a new power as well. She can now levitate. So, and she gets more serious about, fighting, the triad and the source and all of that too. But mostly her focus is on her personal life. She's finishing school, she's really falling for Cole, and he has this whole secret thing going on about him. Cole, which is played by Julian McGowan, he is so sexy, good God. So Cole comes off as the district attorney, but he's actually half demon, sent by the triad to spy on the sisters, get close to them to kill them. So he's half demon, half human. His demon half is an upper level demon called Balthazar, who's a demonic bounty hunter. He's like ruthless. He's killed many, many, plenty of witches. And but like he tries but he fails. Like he even goes back in time to try and wipe out their whole line. Plans get thwarted, but what he didn't expect was to actually fall in love with Phoebe as well, which ultimately leads to him not being able to kill her, and then her not being able to kill him. And yeah, so it was a trauma. It was a wild season, it was a trying season. So season 3 had some highlights. They had a few episodes I liked, and then some I didn't care for. Some that were just okay. But I'm gonna do my little countdown and honorable mentions. So I think my top 5 episodes of the season, number 5 would have to be San Francisco. San Francisco was episode that aired in April 2001. So in San Francisco, the girls and Leo get infected by these sin balls. So Phoebe gets infected with lust. Piper gets infected with um, gluttony. Leo gets infected with sloth, and Prue gets infected with pride. So really interesting episode. I have a thing for the 7 deadly sins, so that had to be included in my top 5. Really good episode. Check that out. My number 4 would have to be Sleuthing with the Enemy. So in Sleuthing with the Enemy, that's the episode when everything kind of comes to head with Phoebe and Cole. Cole being exposed for being Balthazar. In the episode prior to Sleuthing with the Enemy, which was Sleuthing with the Enemy. Where are you? So Power Outage. So in the Power Outage episode, at the end of that episode, they set a trap for Balthazar, not knowing he was Cole, and they wound him pretty badly. So that storyline continues into Sleuthing with the Enemy, and where Phoebe desperately asks Leo to heal Cole, and that's when they notice something's wrong because it only heals part of him, and Leo's like, "No, I can heal mortals very well. He's not who he says he is." So of course Phoebe is all in denial, child. They set a vanquishing potion. When Phoebe finds out who he really is, he takes her to the mausoleum. tells her, hey, he's in love with her. She ends up not being able to vanquish him and lets him go. So that is a secret she ends up keeping for, I think, a few episodes until she finally tells her sisters. So that was a really good episode. So number three would be Look Who's Barking. So later on in the season, I actually think this is the second to last episode. And it is. It's the second to last episode. It aired in May 2001. So there's a banshee that comes into town and, is killing people. And so to locate the banshee, they cast a spell that turns Prue into a dog. So the dog is supposed to help locate the banshee, and when they find the banshee has this scream, and so they're like, Leo comes in and is like, "Well, are both of y'all all right?" Because turns out that banshees are former witches that when they hear the banshees cries, they turn into a banshee. So, and the banshees, they zero in on pain. So Phoebe was in pain about cold child, so that's how the banshee found her. um at this point in the season, he had killed a witch after trying to be good, and Phoebe gets turned into a banshee. She channels all her rage towards Cole, and that's kind of what frees her from that situation. So, really good episode. It was a lot going on because Piper was trying to use her new power. Prue was a dog, and Phoebe was a banshee child. So, they made it work, though. That was a really good episode. So, that was number three. Number two would be Just Harried. So, when Piper and Leo are finally able to get married, this has to be number two because one, um, you get to see Grams comes back to officiate the wedding. Their mother gets sent to them in human form just for the day. Things are, appear to be going right. However, um, Prue feels like she's having this dream that's been keeping her tired, but she's actually been astral projecting while she's sleeping to this bar as kind of an escape. So, a lot going on with that. She gets accused of murder. And they ended up her astral self ends up crashing Piper's wedding, riding off with a dude on a Harley. Like it was a mess. Piper ended up not wanting to get married, but by the end of the episode, they fixed everything. And of course, Piper and Leo was able to get married. Prue came back as one, and everyone saved the day. It was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it because you got to see the mom and the dad interact, the girls and their mom interact. It was a really amazing episode. I really enjoyed that episode. It was almost number one, but if anyone that is familiar with this season, um, should know that my number one favorite episode is All Hell Breaks Loose, which is the season finale. So, in the season finale, there's a demonic bounty hunter named Shax who's looking for Balthazar and trying to kill the witches. He's also trying to kill this doctor. So, this episode opens up with them saving the doctor, barely vanquish. Well, they vanquished the demon for what they thought, but they almost die. So, they get blown through a wall. They So Piper and Prue gets blown through a wall by Shax. Phoebe comes downstairs, says a spell, vanquishes Shax, and then Leo heals the two sisters. Well, it turns out they didn't vanquish Shax. It actually takes stronger magic. So Prue and Piper follow him out into the street to vanquish him, and they do, at least so they think. But they're actually caught on video by a live TV crew, and their magic is exposed to the world. So all hell literally breaks loose. Phoebe goes down to the underworld to cure the little evil spell that's on Cole, and unfortunately, while she's down there, she has no communication with what's going on on the surface. So she has no idea that their magic has been exposed. Child, the news crew is surrounding the house. Um, they end up shooting Piper. They rush Piper to the hospital. Piper ends up dying. Um, Phoebe Leo goes down to the underworld to let Phoebe know, and they decide to try and reach Tempest to reset time. So the source ultimately, I know I'm telling the whole episode, but the source ends up granting the wish and resetting time, but he's trying to trick Phoebe into staying. So when the day restarts, it comes back to that beginning scene where they're saving the doctor. Shax actually was not vanquished because it takes the power of three to vanquish him. And he comes, blows Piper and Prue through the wall, kills the doctor, and then leaves. And that's how the season ends. So we're kind of left on the cliffhanger, not knowing if if Phoebe's okay, not knowing who survived out of Prue and Piper. And it was a really intense episode. So really good season. Some of the honorable mentions of the season will have to be Coyote Piper, where Piper gets possessed by a spirit and she turns wild, honey. And her only way to get out of a body is to stab herself. The spirit stabbed the body, the host. Oh, I'm hitting the mic. I'm sorry. Stab the host and go to another body. So that was a really good episode. Y'all know that I'm a fan of the time travel episodes. So what was that? That was All Hallows Eve, where they went back in time. That was when Cole tried to vanquish their whole line by killing